Welcome back to another week 8 of the People's Game Day. I'm joined by Josh, Berm, Lane Malay, and the one, the only, Lordy. It's got to be JD. All right, we're going to start off this week with the Fireball bet. Josh, why don't you take it from here?
Yeah, the Fireball bet was in my court. We can take a look at last week. We'll probably remember what happened. This week's Fireball bet. Jared, you ready for this? Arkansas is going to beat Tennessee. That's the Fireball bet. It's pretty much a pick 'em. I think it's a 1.5 point spread. I'm taking the Hogs.
You got him, baby. Jordan, your rebuttal.
I've got nothing to say. The balls are bad. I'm probably going to be taking a shot next week.
Yeah, Razorbacks took down the balls. Jordan paid the piper.
That's not all he paid.
Why do you pour him into the mug there?
I don't like to plug them. It makes me throw up. I don't like it.
By the way, Jordan, I love your sport coat that you're sporting this evening with the hair. Our Christmas pictures tonight? Yeah, new Harry Potter reveal?
You had to work late at the office.
You go sit on Santa's lap?
Don't mess with him on. All right, buddy, what's it going to be this week?
Jordy, what's your bet this week, buddy?
The shot bet.
All right, it's the captain. I know.
By Expo.
The shot bets. This is tough. So I hate all of you. I'm going to throw it back to Borm's court, and I'm going to bet him that Nebraska does not have a passing touchdown with whatever two-headed, three-headed, four-headed fucking monster they want to attempt to have a quarterback.
They haven't had one yet. They do, so I'll take that bet.
No, they're not.
All right. So you heard it here first. Jordan is betting Borm. That's kind of an interesting way. We haven't had a bet like that this year. All right, welcome back after that commercial break. I'd like to introduce our guest for the week. Our guest for the week is a friend of mine. He went to school at Arizona State, huge Sun Devil fan. Andrew Turner, everybody. Turner, say a little something to everybody.
How you doing, folks? How you doing? Still fucking depressed from the game last weekend.
What happened in the last 2 minutes of that Sun Devil game?
I don't have words for it. It just doesn't. I don't know. It was one of the worst collapses I've ever seen. It was awful.
Think they turn it around from here on out?
As much as I'd like to say yes, when your biggest game is the first game of the season and you collapse in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, I mean, yeah, I guess they turned around. They have nowhere to go but up. But yeah, it's depressing as a fan. No, not really. I mean, they lost their biggest game of the season, week 1 in a 6-game season.
Remember when we had coffee with Herm Edwards?
That was you and stuff.
Oh, yeah, me and Dan Stockton. All right. Well, let's get sorry about that. Let's get to the picks here. We're going to start off with Louisville at Virginia. Virginia being a 2.5-point favorite here. I'm taking the Cardinals. Bormy, who do you like?
Louisville's got at least 4 injuries on their defense, so I'm going to roll Virginia at home. Lane, what do you got?
I think Louisville's due. It's only 2.5, spread between the two. So I'm going to go ahead and take Louisville. I think they're due. Jordy?
I got no family.
Oh, you go to Turner.
Oh, Turner.
I'm gonna go with Louisville. They've done me well this year. I had a little bit of money on them when they played Notre Dame close, so I'll go with Louisville again here. Why not? And Virginia screwed me before, so go Cards.
Ready?
I'm not saying Papa John's was right, but I'm saying Louisville was wrong. I'm taking Virginia.
All right, next we have number 9, Miami. The Hurricanes are taking on the Hokies from Virginia Tech. Give me the Hurricanes all night. Bormy, who do you like?
Virginia Tech lost at home to Liberty last week. Miami. Lane.
Miami's going to roll. They're actually kind of my honorable mention for my top 8. I think they're going to slip in. Hopefully, the 2.5 spread is crazy. They're going to win. They're going to win big. Turner?
I'm going to go Miami, De'Aaron King. I will say that. The one thing I will say is I think Liberty's a little bit better than people think they are. So I think the game's going to be close, but I think Miami covers 2.5.
Hugh Freeze isn't really coaching from hospital beds anymore. He has quite a little bit of a program there. He's probably moving on after this year. The fact that this is 2.5 points is insane, and it has to be a typo. The Canes roll through, baby. Hurricane season. Let's go.
Hurricane season was over.
All right.
Hurricane season was over. Ah!
Next, we have number 10, the Hoosiers from Indiana. They're going to Dalman Gibson's home, baby, Michigan State. Michigan State has surprised us on this show.
Fuck is
But the
down?
Hoosiers playing tough this year. I'm taking the Hoosiers. They've proven a lot so far. Borm, who do you like?
I'm jumping on that Indiana bandwagon. They've been playing well. They beat teams they're probably not supposed to beat in a traditional year, but here we are. So I like Indiana big in this one, Lane.
I agree with both of you. I am kind of jumping on that Indiana bandwagon as well, Josh. I think they're going to win. They're going to win big. I was impressed with Michigan State a couple weeks ago, but Indiana's rolling. They're going to keep rolling. Turner?
I agree with all you guys. Tom Allen, good coach. I think he's got a lot of seniors and older players there at Indiana. I think it's going to be a big year for him. I kind of thought the same thing you guys thought of Michigan State probably when they beat Michigan, but looking at it now, I think Michigan just sucks, and that's more what that game was about, to be honest. On the North.
Yeah, kudos to Michigan State for winning the biggest game of the year for them. But Michael Penix Jr. and Indiana Hoosiers, there's no reason to jump off the bandwagon. They're going to win this easy.
All right, next is Penn State playing our Josh Borm's Cornhuskers. This is my upset of the week. It's not really an upset, I guess, since Penn State isn't ranked anymore. But I'm going to take the Huskers. I think at home they're going to play the Nittany Lions tough. I believe in the Huskers. They played Ohio State extremely tough in the first half in that first game of the year. Give me the Huskers all day. Borman, who do you like?
You have never been to a Huskers game.
Like you said, they've done some good things this year, like the first half against Ohio State. Last week, they had 440 yards of offense. They were across the 56 times and scored 13 points. They got to clean some things up. They're close. They're really close to being okay. And I think this week they figure it out. First home game. Finally, the boys are back in Lincoln. I'm picking the Huskers in an upset. Lane?
I hate to be this guy, but I could give two rats' asses about this game. They're both shitty. Nebraska, they did impress me against Ohio State, but I don't see Penn State going 0-4, so I'm going to take Penn State on this one. It'll be close.
Hey, what's Wyoming's record?
Hey, don't worry about it. They got a win under their belt. What does Nebraska have? Thank you, Turner.
I'm going to agree with Lane on this one. So me and my dad were looking at – we were actually talking about this game last week, and when we saw they both lost, and we kind of nicknamed it the shit bowl. I mean, like, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Like, I'm going to go with Penn State because I think Penn State has more talent. I know that Nebraska might be close. Like, from what Borm said, they're close to being okay. Like, exactly what he said right there. I think Penn State wins if they play like they're capable of playing. So,
Nebraska's ceiling is maybe okay. Penn State's ceiling is good. Penn State's going to send dudes to the league. Nebraska's going to send dudes to the rec league. Okay?
We're going to send you to McDonald's.
Nebraska sends dudes to the league every year. That's not what it's about. So does Tennessee. Where they at?
Who on this team from Nebraska is going to play in the fucking NFL? Nelson?
Maybe.
Who? Name it. No, he won't. Stop it.
Maybe.
Stop it.
I'm just saying.
Penn State is going to send Pat Fryermuth as a first-round dude this year. Name one dude from Nebraska who's a dude.
Let's move on.
All right. Next game, we have number two, the Fighting Irish. They're playing at Boston College. Boston College being a 13.5-point underdog. I'm taking the Fighting Irish after the big win last week. Borm, who do you like?
I like Notre Dame too, but I think there's a little bit of a potential letdown here. I think Notre Dame wins, but Boston College covers. Right?
I keep making the mistake of going against Notre Dame. My only concern is that they might have some slight of a hangover after beating the number one team, but it is Boston College. I think that the Fighting Irish are going to win. They're going to win more than 14 points. Turner?
So I am going to perform on this. I think Notre Dame will win the game. I think it's going to be a close game. I think Boston College will cover. So the Boston College quarterback, I'm not sure how you say his last name. I think it's Jerkasek. He's actually a transfer from Notre Dame, so I think that's going to be a pretty big game for him.
Good fact, Turner. What we haven't mentioned is that Boston College is going to roll out the cleanest unis in college football this week with the red bandanas for their man who always wore the red bandana, carried it with them every day, saved some people, died 9/11. They're easily going to cover this game. Notre Dame will win, but Boston College is going to come out with a lot of fire. They live for these upset games. They cover, bare minimum.
All right, next we have the Horned Frogs of TCU visiting West Virginia, the Pat McAfees. I'm going with West Virginia here. They're a 3.5-point favorite. Give me the West Virginia Mountaineers all day. Borm, who do you like?
I like West Virginia too. They're better in every statistical category, and they're at home. I'll take West Virginia. Lane.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's going to be a good game, but they are going to Morgantown. So I got West Virginia, and they're going to win over 3.5. Turner?
I agree, boys. I think the TCU always gets a few too many points, at least from Vegas. I don't know why people like TCU. I'm not too big on them, West Virginia.
I love West Virginia. Take Me Home Country Roads is an all-time anthem. This week, I think my upset of the week, it's not much, but I got to go with Gary Patterson and the Horned Frogs. Just to pick an upset, just to stir the pot a little bit, I'm going to go with Gary Patterson and the Horned Frogs.
Do you actually believe it?
There's a guy from Gearing who's a trainer on the staff. You know, we got a little home cooking going. You know, good for him.
Next game is number 20, the USC Trojans playing the Wildcats from Arizona, the Dirty T. Turner, you're going to hate this, but I'm taking U of A. I like Sumlin. I think someone's got a little something cooking in Tucson. I'm taking U of A after USC got lucky versus ASU last
I'm going to go ahead real quick before Borm says something here. What does someone have cooking in Tucson? They've gone.
Hey, a little something cooking.
They've gone. Hold on. They've gone
What do you have cooking in that meth lab that you're coming from tonight? What is going on in there? That's a real question.
More than 4 and 8 and 5 and 7, and I'm not recruiting 2 stars and 1 stars like they are down in the Dirty. But U of A is going nowhere, and they're going nowhere fast.
Well, now we know who your pick is. Borm, go ahead.
USC lived up to their pretender. You know, that's kind of what they are. They're a pretender, and they keep getting ranked high, and it's stupid. They took a hellacious comeback against the Sun Devils last week. Slovis threw the ball 55 times, which I know they were coming back, so they had to throw the ball, but they got to get the run game going. Otherwise, it's going to be a long season for them. I think they win, but Arizona covers.
They run the air raid.
You got to run the ball, dude. You can't throw it. Look at Mike Leach, dude. They scored 40 points, and now they scored 0 points.
Yeah, they don't have any air raid players in Mississippi State yet.
Excuse me. Excuse me. It was actually passed to me. Oh. USC is going to win this game, but last week I said that USC is going to be one of those top teams in the Pac-12. I wasn't really impressed with them that much. I think they're going to win, but I do think Arizona is going to cover. Turner?
USC wins and USC covers. It's not necessarily about USC being super good. I think it's more about it being U of A's first game. U of A isn't that good, and I think a team's biggest improvement is between game 1 and game 2. So I think USC is going to kind of get cleaned up what they didn't have done last week, even though they won, and I think they're going to roll U of A.
Good point.
All right, that's a good point, but not so fast. Debuting this year for the U of A is Grant Gunnell. Came out of high school, the all-time leader in pass yards in the state of Texas. Pretty good quarterbacks have come out of Texas, no? Kevin Sumlin's going to figure something out, and bare minimum they cover, and they might be a damn upset this week.
Who's your pick?
I'm taking USC because I'm a coward, but they might upset.
All right, very good. Now we've got the Buffs from Colorado playing the Nerds from Stanford. I'm going to stake Stanford. There's a 6.5-point favorite. Bormy, who do you like?
I'm never picking Colorado. I hate that place. I hate that school. Stanford. Lane, what do you got?
I'm actually going to take Colorado on this one. They looked really good. They almost blew a lead last week, though, but, Oregon pretty much ran through Stanford. So I'm going to go ahead and take Colorado on this, and I think they're going to win over 6.5. Turner?
So this one was the trickiest one for me. I think – so I'm going to go Stanford to win. And if I haven't seen – do you guys know if Davis Mills is starting at quarterback for Stanford this weekend, or is it going to be the guy that starts?
I have no idea who they play.
So if the quarterback who was on the COVID list last week starts this week, I'll pick Stanford to cover as well. If he's not playing, I just got Stanford to win because Stanford's kicker missed 4 field goals last week. So I don't know if they're going to be able to make a field goal. So they literally have to score touchdowns, but I'm still going to go with the Cardinal.
I don't have a lot of stake in this game. Everything in me would like to pick Stanford. It's Masters Week. The best alumni ever from the University of Tiger Woods. I think he might have another one in him, back to back. The Buffs win this. They came out and beat the dog out of UCLA and just ran the clock out. Buffs win.
Number 19, SMU. They're going to Tulsa. Tulsa being a 2.5-point favorite here. I'm still taking SMU. Borm, who do you like?
Tulsa's pesky. They've been messing with teams they shouldn't be messing with, like Oklahoma State. They beat UCF, things like that. SMU's averaging 526 yards of offense, though. That's 333 through the air. Shane Buechele, good. SMU in a slight upset here. Lane?
I'm gonna go ahead and take Tulsa on this week. Like Josh just said, they've been kind of impressive playing some of these teams and whatnot. And SMU is still right there. Both teams are very, I would say, evenly. It's gonna be close, 3.5. I actually have Tulsa on this one. Turner.
I agree. I think this is the most of a pick-em game there is this week. I was kind of leaning towards Tulsa, but I'm going to go SMU because of Shane Buechele. I'm just going to switch it up here. I had to go with one dog.
Shane Buechele's a hell of a quarterback, but I don't know if he's ever thrown a pass in a hurricane. Roll Tulsa.
Hey, do we ever figure out why they're called the Golden Hurricanes? Did we do some research on that?
Yeah. It's kind of, you know how Alabama, they had a beat writer back in the day. They were wearing all the maroon, and he said they look like a Crimson Tide. So they had a coach come in that kept having nickname after nickname after nickname, and they were wearing these golden jerseys, and somebody said they were sweeping across the field. And he goes, that's it, we're the Golden Hurricane. That's the whole thing.
Thank you, Jordan, for that explanation that no one asked for. Anyways, we're going to go to Arkansas at number 6, Florida.
I asked.
Florida being a 17.5-point favorite. I'm going to go with Florida, and this is also my lock of the week. I love the Gators in the Bayou against the Razorbacks. Bormy, who do you like?
I think Florida's in a similar situation as Notre Dame. Just had a big top 5 win. Now they're playing a lesser opponent. A little bit of a hangover. Like Florida, Arkansas covers. Thank
I got Florida, and I have Florida winning big on this one. So Florida's going to win. I think it's 17.5. Is that the cover? They're going to dominate. So, I got Florida on this one. Turner?
Borm, I completely agree with you again. Exactly like the Notre Dame game. Reason being, Florida had a big win last week, and Arkansas's quarterback is a transfer from Florida, like the Boston College. So I think Florida will win, but I think Felipe Franks will come out fired up. And Arkansas, they have one loss, to be honest, that they shouldn't have this year against Auburn. They won that game, in my opinion.
I tell you.
So they have overperformed. I think they cover, but I think they lose.
Have fun to play. We can build this up as the Felipe Franks revenge game. Let's build it up as the fucking Florida revenge game. How bad did he make them when he was there? He misses wide open wide receivers. Dan Mullen is putting together game plans that blow your mind. And Felipe Franks is dumb when he's at Florida. Has he had a better season? Yeah. Will he do anything? No. Florida's going to roll him. Kyle Trask, first SEC player in history with 4 passing touchdowns in 5 straight games. It rolls on to 6.
How's that board you're reading off to your right?
Yeah, what are you looking at?
What are you looking at, Jerry?
It's actually at halftime at the Central Michigan, Northern Illinois, and that stat came on.
Jordan, is that your lock, Betty?
That's my lock. I will lock that in.
I forgot to mention earlier, my lock is
I will double down on it.
My lock is Indiana over Michigan State. Anyway, Dallas, go ahead.
Okay, guys.
I'm going to go
next game.
I'm going to go Indiana and make them my lock as well.
Next game is number 11, Lane Malay's Oregon Ducks. They're traveling to Washington State. Washington State being an 8.5-point underdog. Give me the Ducks. Lane, I know you love the Ducks, and the Ducks are going to do it big tonight. So is Kaylee Bell. Josh Barn, what do you think?
Last week, Oregon threw for 227 and ran for 269. It's kind of the anti-USC where they're throwing it 55 times. I get air raid, whatever. You got to run the ball to be successful. I think Oregon up with that trend. They're nice balance, tough to stop. Oregon wins big. Lane.
I think it's an insult that it's only 8.5. Let's first stop real quick. And if Dallas mocks me one more time as I'm talking, shame. Oregon is going to win by 21 points. Oregon is going to lead the Pac-12. They're going to do it big. Washington State is a little speed bump. It's nothing. Oregon rolls. Ducks roll. Pick in the Bays.
What, Lane, what do you think makes Oregon so good?
Well, first off, they run the ball. They can throw. They have one of the better offensive lines, which probably explains why they can run the ball. And they're doing it without Penei Sewell, who is just I fucking hate you guys. Penei
Top 3
Sewell
picks in the draft.
is a sophomore. And he
I-
opted out. He opted out. Hold on. He opted out after his sophomore year. After
He
winning
opted out.
So he's going to be a top 5 lineman in the league as only playing 2 years in college. He's a stud. And
He's going to be a top 5 draft pick for sure.
Like
He's
he's,
the best he's the best player in the draft next year. Whether he gets drafted number 1, I don't know if it'll happen. He is the best player.
oh,
That's a
Trevor
bold
Lawrence
prediction with
and
Trevor
Justin
Lawrence.
Fields?
I don't care. I think Penei Sewell is
Micah
better.
Parsons out of Penn State might have a hell of a career.
Turner,
I think-
I love that enthusiasm though. I'm not going to argue it. He'll be top 5 for sure, but I don't see him beating Trevor Lawrence. But imagine if he didn't opt out this year, he'd only be a junior, and he would just continue to make that line better. But they're good without him. It's
And
crazy.
defensive line wise, I think they're just as good. They have Thibodeau, they have Brooks, who's a senior this year, and then they got Justin Flo, who they really haven't even played yet, a linebacker. Their front seven's nasty. They're a good team. They have-
And so to answer your question, Josh, they're dynamic on the offensive line, defensive line. They run and they throw, and they're electric. They're Oregon football. They're Pac-12.
Pac-12 football's electric, baby.
Electric, baby. You know how we do.
Turner, you're going with Oregon, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch my lock. I know I said my lock was Indiana, but I'm gonna go with the lock from my own damn conference, Oregon. Oregon's gonna win big. Like if I had to make a lock for a spread game, 2, 8.5, that's my lock on a spread as well. They're gonna
Also,
win.
I don't know if I said it, but that is my lock of the week, is Oregon rolling on Washington State.
All right.
Also, another reason I think they roll a little bit more. That was Washington State's first game under a new head coach, so no one really had film on what the offense was going to look like. I know that obviously they're going to have some like little ploys off what they did last week, but at least Oregon will be able to see what their base offense is, and they can kind of go off of that.
Jordy, what do you think?
Yeah, good call, Turner. It is the second game in the Nick Rolovich era at Washington State. Long live Mike Leach. It's a different era there now. Mario Cristobal been at Oregon for a few years, and he has a damn program. There's programs and there's programs, and he has a goddamn program. Oregon.
Jordan, what do you have? What's happened more to you in life? Buying lava lamps or getting laid? Because you've got 2 right behind you.
I've never bought a lava lamp. They are always Christmas gifts, so the second.
Siri.
Also,
Okay.
I'm going to throw this out there, Dallas. Apparently, Lane and I are left out of the club. We're the only non-gingers in the damn meeting tonight, but I think we're okay with that.
Why don't you go fuck yourself?
We don't want you anyway.
We have spoken.
All right, next
We have
game is number
spoken.
13, Wisconsin. They're playing Michigan. Michigan's a 2.5-point underdog. I'm going to go with the Badgers.
2.5.
Give me Wisconsin. Bormy, who do you like?
Make it 25.
We need to think about Wisconsin for a second. They're still one of the most talented teams in the country, even though they only played 1 game. They've been COVID shut down, but they're still one of the most talented teams. They stick it to Michigan pretty good. I like Wisconsin big here, Lane.
I have Wisconsin going big too. I know I just talked a big bunch about Oregon's offensive line, but Wisconsin is offensive line U next to Notre Dame and Alabama. Those 3 teams that have the most powerful offensive lines. I love watching them. I love Wisconsin football just for their line. I'm not a big fan of the team, but because of their offensive line, I'm choosing Wisconsin on this one. Turner?
I am going to go with Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin's a very good team based off how they played the first game. They have only played 1 game. That being said, they're playing Michigan. Michigan, I think they're horrible, to be completely honest with you. Wisconsin, baby.
They're playing a team that has a head coach who is packing up 90 pairs of khakis. I don't even know how he made a game plan this week. That is a lot of pants to roll up. Wisconsin by 30. 2.5? Are they insane? Michigan lost to Michigan State. Their quarterback's named Rocky Lombardi. He's out of a movie. Come on.
Does Harbaugh lose his job if they lose this game?
He's already
He's
out.
He's
already-
gone. He's on
already lost.
borrowed time. He
Unless
will
they
not be
somehow
back next year. And if he is, it's an indictment on the state of Michigan. It's an
They gotta
indictment on Michigan football. Braylon
Gotta beat Ohio
Edwards to go
State.
to campus and start kicking down doors.
beating
I
Ohio
think that-
State's the only way.
I think if it gets too bad, they'll fire him during the season, but I don't think he'll be there next year. Unless they beat Ohio State, which
That's
they
the only
won't.
way.
Yeah,
All right.
that's not gonna happen.
There's no
Our
fucking
last
way.
our last game we have before our game of the week is number 23, Northwestern. They're going to Purdue. Purdue is a 2.5 point underdog here. And everybody loved Northwestern early on. Everybody said this was kind of their team. I'm still going to roll with Northwestern. I think they beat Drew Brees' old Boilermakers pretty easy. For me, who do you like?
Something about Northwestern. They haven't given up a point in the second half all year. Granted, that's Iowa, Nebraska, and Maryland. I mean, they haven't really played anybody, but not giving up a single point in the second half is still noteworthy. And the thing with Northwestern is they're not going to beat themselves, and neither is Purdue. Cats win big. Lane, what do you got?
I got Northwest on this one too. 2.5 favorite. I think it'll probably be close, probably a field goal. I'll always have a soft spot for Purdue for beating Ohio State a couple years back. That's always my favorite, but I still got Northwestern in this game. Turner?
I am going to go with Purdue. I think Northwestern's a very good team. I think Rondell Moore is going to show out this game, and I think he's going to be a little bit too much for Northwestern to handle on defense. I know Patty Fisher's pretty good, but I think Purdue is going to have a few big plays from Rondell Moore, and they'll end up winning and covering.
I agree with Turner 100%. When I look at this game, Pat Fitzgerald is a hell of a coach. Jeff Brom is a hell of a coach. And it's a tough game. They're both good teams, but I look at the best player on the field, and that is without question Rondell Moore. I got to give it to Purdue. The Boilermakers roll on down the tracks.
Well, one of the better games of the week. I feel like it's going.
I thought it was
I lost both of them.
Speaking of game of the week, let's roll to our game of the week. We've got Cal visiting Arizona State. They're going to be going to Tempe. ASU is a 3.5 point favorite here. I'm taking the Sun Devils all day. Had a crushing blow last week. They bounced back big. Herm leads the boys back in Tempe to a huge win. Borm, who do you like?
Like you said last week, they had a chance. They forced 4 turnovers last week. Should have won the game. I think they build on that momentum and that sour taste in their mouth. I think they beat Cal by a touchdown. Lane, what do you got?
I agree. Arizona State's are going to bounce back. They're going to come in. They're going to play hard, especially that Cal hasn't played a game yet. So, I mean, between the two teams, there's only been one game played. Arizona's going to win.
Look at Jordan's face.
Turner, what do you think?
So as an ASU fan, they got to win this game after last week. I mean, that was like last week. There was a lot. I had a lot of friends who were ASU fans. I coach high school football. A lot of the coaches I coach with went to ASU. So last week was a huge game. Such a letdown. So if they lose this week, I mean, it's just like, you know what I mean? We had a lot of hope this season. I get we're a younger team. I think it being our second game is really going to help. A lot of the receivers we saw on the outside are young. Our starting receiver, Darby, got hurt. He didn't really play. So hopefully they can get those receivers right because I felt like all we had was a running game. I'm going to go with ASU. I got to go with the Devils. So go Devils, baby.
The California Golden Bears are a selectively proud program, and this is not a proud season for them. They've produced some of the best players in the league over the past 20 years. Deshaun Jackson, Marshawn Lynch, Aaron Rodgers, to name a couple. They don't have that anymore. Ashton Davis, their best player, played for the Jets. We watched him. It was his first start in the league, and Tyreek Hill clowned his ass. I got to tell you, Herm Edwards, Lovie Smith, the Devils, they roll big.
Oh, Lovie
We're going downtown. We're going to Old Town Tavern. We're going to listen to live music. Devils up all day, baby.